Hi everyone, and welcome to the third installment of Chaps Chats. Today we will be getting to know some more players from the senior section at Wanderers FC. Our guests today for this episode are Jack McKeown Bennett from the under-20s, Peter Brome from the first and second men's teams, Katie Hill from the women's teams, and Lucas Culleton from the first and second men's teams. So sit back and enjoy. So guys, we have Jack McKeown Bennett, our under-20s representative today. Jack, I work with you. I've been working with you for the past year anyway, as your under-20s coach. Just wondering if you could give us a bit of background into yourself. You're playing since you started playing as a young kid, and so on and so forth. So my first question is, where did you first start playing rugby, and at what age?
I started playing firstly in Wanderers when I was about 4 or 5. So originally, my friend and our dads, we went on the first Sunday to Belleville originally, and Belleville was just packed. It was wedged, so we walked around the corner to Wanderers and joined up there instead, and that's how it happened really. So it was a bit by a chance that I ended up here, but yeah, I've been playing here since under sixes the whole way up through the age groups and then back to 20s after school.
Okay, so they got you young anyway, and by happy chance, we ended up getting you coming to Wanderers.
Yeah, they were lucky. They were
Yeah,
lucky.
they were lucky. So my next question will be for you is where have you played for school, club, representative side?
Yeah, so I played all the way up with Wanderers until first year at least. And then I went to Clongowes for school, secondary school, but I kept playing through 14s, 15s, and 16s on the weekends. So we had very good teams in Wanderers coming up, thankfully. So I think we were unbeaten for about 2 seasons at 14s and 15s. So didn't really want to leave at that stage. So we kept on and we were winning. We were playing good rugby. So that was good fun. And then, yeah, played up through school and then left last year.
Great.
Didn't played around the third 15 in school, just hung around the social panel a bit. So that's good crack.
Listen, you don't knock social rugby. It's where you meet when you're some of your best mates. Um, what position do you play?
The moment to play hooker and sometimes I step up to the back row, but yeah, I like playing hooker.
No,
Played some 10 back in the day.
I knew you were going to mention that because I know you.
Yeah,
I know you. You've got like every other forward and in or out half or scrum half with inside. You thinking you can be the next Dan Carter or Johnny Wilkinson.
yeah. So I played a few unsuccessful games there, uh, much to the coaches' delight. I'm going to say. So yeah, that's good fun to play 10 sometimes.
Everyone. Well, I'm probably one of the rare ones that doesn't enjoy playing 10.
Yeah.
Uh, next one would be what do you enjoy most about playing rugby, both on and off the field?
On the pitch, it's probably like when a good move comes together, when a good try is scored, or if you're holding the defense for long and then it pays off. It's like good to see everyone happy and together and celebrating. It's That's a good feeling to have. It's a hard feeling to get, but it's hard to describe. But it's a good feeling to have, especially winning games and stuff. Just feeling with the team afterwards is always great. And then off the field, probably just even off the field, just training, just before training, after training, just having the crack and being with the lads is good. And you're going to see them whatever 3 times, 4 times a week. So it's good to have that connection outside of college and outside of school to have a
Yeah,
different set of people to
good,
hang around with. So that's probably the best thing about it, to have opened up your horizons.
good. I like that your answer to what on the field. Like very, not many people have said the actual enjoyment of working together as a unit and you're all the hard work paying off, whether it being a score or stopping the opposition from getting a score. So I like that, and that's a good one. Next one would be what is your favorite moment or memory when you were playing rugby? Was it on the pitch, or was it an event, or was it a championship you might have won?
Yeah, when we were under, I think I was in second year, so we were under 14s or 15s. and there was a sevens tournament on, the Umbrella Sevens up in Ternier, and my school Clongowes was going to it, and being not so nimble, I wasn't picked for the squad of 20. So I go to Steve, my dad, and I'm like, yeah, we're putting in a team as well with Wanderers. So we gathered up the elites and we headed to the tournament anyway, 14 of us, I think. And won every game, whatever, got to the final, and then due to some uh, crazy refereeing, I'm going to say, we lost to Clongowes, the first team in the final. So it was tough to take, but if it had paid off, it would have been something special. But it was still good to play it and to play the best rugby we've probably played. Just throwing it around, while everyone else is pretty boring. So it was good to do that. It was a bit of fun.
Sevens rugby is one where you can kind of let your inner flamboyant rugby player
Yeah,
loose
exactly.
because there's so much more
Yeah,
space for you to get around players. Yeah, no, I know that's good. Like, nearly probably would have put a bit of egg on the face of the first team coach
yeah, we
for not
nearly
picking
did.
you if you didn't.
We
Yeah,
did. We played them in the group stages, and we were winning. Let's go to try, and we were winning. And then they came back and we drew.
right.
But if we'd beaten them, then they wouldn't have gotten to the final. So we were kicking ourselves that we would have walked it in if we hadn't messed up that game.
Ah,
But still good. Still good to play it.
did you enjoy the tournament though?
Oh yeah, it was a good tournament. Like something different,
Yeah.
especially when you're playing sevens or if you're playing like 7-a-side or 5-a-side games. It's usually not competitive.
Different atmosphere altogether.
Usually just training, but to play it competitive against other teams is good.
Good. And just as a back row slash front row, is there any suggestions or advice you would give to a player who, like, in the under 14s or 13s, that you would train more, or is there something you would have done differently back when you were that age?
Um, just with hooker, now it's changing so much. It's crucial to get your throws right.
Okay.
Like lineouts are a set piece. They're almost like a try scoring opportunity. So if
Yeah.
you can make it easier for the rest of the team to score, that you shouldn't really be messing up your throws or anything like that anymore. It used back whatever, no one really cared about it, but now it's talked about so much. I'd say you need to make that perfect. Like you see players with Leinster now, or like say Ronan Keller's under some pressure when he doesn't hit his throws.
Yeah.
Uh, just get rid of that early and just practice when you're younger so you have it
Yeah.
and don't need to worry about it. Just keep throwing balls at a wall or something. That's a good
Good. And we're
thing
kind
to
of
have under your belt.
yeah, we're kind of lucky now with the under 20s that for you guys that you have Peter, our head coach Peter O'Donnell, who's um fairly well known for training the technique of line out throwing and actually really getting used to a high standard. So we're hopefully gonna improve yourselves as we go up, and hopefully the guys would learn off him as well, and we can pass it on down to the younger ages. So Jack, is there anything else you would like to tell us that hasn't already been asked, or is there anything else?
Um, don't know. Maybe if the 20s only real come back the last year. I
Yeah,
know the last 2 years have been uh, shaky enough with numbers wise,
yeah,
but for the younger age groups to definitely stick around afterwards, especially with the new clubhouse coming and stuff,
yeah.
it'll be really good to build strong 20s upwards from now on, and we won't dip back down to struggling for numbers.
Definitely. But like, listen, Jack, thanks very much for joining me today. It's great having you on. I know you very well anyway, and I'm sure and the under fives or under sixes don't know you very well as well as
Yeah,
you're their head coach. But yeah, listen, thank you very much for coming on, and I look forward to the next season or so with you as your coach and also as a fellow Wanderers member. Thanks very much, Jack.
perfect. Thank you very much.
We have now our representative for first seconds team of Wanderers, and it's Peter Broom, the unbelievable hidden number 10 that we have here at the club. So, Peter,
Brilliant, sir.
no, I've met you a few times myself at matches anyway, and now we just want to get to know you a bit better, so the young guys know what it takes to be a now half for at senior level. So, firstly, my first question would be: is where did you first start playing rugby, and at what age did you start playing?
Nice one, Jer. And I suppose before we kick off, thanks for having me on, and thanks for your time. So, yeah, where did I first start playing rugby? It was probably down in Middleton. I was probably it was probably about seven or eight, under eights maybe. I remember I was playing all the sports under the sun because I just had so much energy. My parents were trying to burn out all the energy. I remember my mum was my first coach as well down in Middleton. So, but yeah, I know under eights, under seven eights down in Middleton.
Yeah, that's good to hear that Mammy was the one that led the way with the coaching with you anyway.
Yeah, she was ahead of her times.
There you go. As I tell you, they're always a bit ahead of their time down in Cork. My grandfather's from Cove, so there you go.
Yeah.
Next question would be for you is where have you played? Like, have you played for any other clubs bar down in Middleton and Wanderers, or college or school level or anything like that?
Yeah, I would have obviously kind of played in Middleton underage, so up to kind of when I decided obviously go to secondary school, I would have gone into Middleton College, the same school as Quilly actually, a couple of years ahead of him, but that is kind of a rugby school, so you kind of have to pick unfortunately between kind of similar, I suppose now to kind of to Dublin setup as well, between kind of club and school. So played in Middleton College. I suppose it's classed as a B school rugby wise. It's kind of a mixed school and kind of limited numbers as well. But we always kind of punched above our weight there. So yeah, played in Middleton College. Great bunch of lads. And then left school. Was lucky enough to get into UCC and make the UCC team and the squad, and that was incredible just to be involved in that kind of a setup. You come out of school and you go into the likes of the Mardyke down in Cork, and it's the state of the art kind of facilities, pitches and coaches and nutrition and everything, and the academy that's involved there. So I was there for a year, and that was class. Met loads of cool guys, and it was a great kind of scene to be involved in. And then after a year there, I went to Cork for 2 years. So that was again a great experience, and again it was an incredible club to be involved with, and quite I suppose large squad and great experience again. So from there, then after 2 years, I went back to the hometown, Middleton. So went back to Middleton, back to the AIL there, and again it was great because I kind of had left a lot of my friends that continued kind of left school, and the natural progression would be that you would go play with kind of Middleton, the local club, and came back to a lot of friends that were playing there, and we had a great squad again, and we ended up getting promoted. We nearly had an unbeaten season. I think we lost one game near the end when the AIL was like 3 divisions, 1, 2, and 3, and we were in the 3rd division. We actually played Wanderers that year as well. So it was nice to come up and play Merrion Road. But yeah, and then from there, I was lucky enough to kind of land I suppose a professional gig over in France in Federal 1, it's called. So
Right.
it's kind of 3rd division in French rugby, sort of kind of top 14, Pro D2, and then Federal 1, and there's a couple of other divisions below that then as well. So that was a great experience. It was down in kind of the southwest of France, just below Bordeaux, so the wine country. So and ended up playing against the likes of Andrew Mertens in the twilight of his career, and that was a great experience. And from there, then came back to kind of finish college. Came to Dublin, and then I came to Dublin around kind of Christmas time, just before Christmas, and ended up playing with kind of Blackrock for the rest of that season. And then I suppose kind of that summer, I knew a lot of lads that were down in Wanderers that from Cork, the likes of Peter O'Sullivan and Peter Murphy and a few more kind of heads from Cork. So the Cork connection had to come into Wanderers, and ever since I've been here now probably 7 or 8 years, probably 8 years, and it's been great. I really enjoyed my time in Wanderers.
Great. Fairly lengthy career list there, and really good to know that you went over to France, like to the south of France, to let guys know that you don't just have to try and make it in Ireland. You can go over abroad to other nations and even start in the divisions like you did in the third division there and work your way up if you want. But yeah, like to play against a player like Andrew Mertens is a big one to say
Yeah,
because
I know it was cool because
yeah,
growing up playing John Aloma rugby, hearing Andrew Merton's names and watching him in the Super 12s back then. And he was a
yeah,
lovely fellow. We played them kind of twice in the quarterfinals, home and away. And he was playing with a team Béziers on the other side of France, and met
yeah.
him afterwards. Really nice bloke. It was class. It was brilliant.
Like I just remember watching him as a kid as well. He was just such a good player as well. And then he was the
Yeah,
predecessor to one of my favorite players of all time, Carlos Spencer. So just
yeah. No,
there you go.
he'd be
Just
up there as well. Carlos
yeah,
Spencer with the old
definitely
pass
up
between the legs.
there. But yeah, I'm just moving into our next bit is what position you play? Obviously I said out half at the start, but have you played any other positions other than out half?
Um, Full back maybe a bit, but mainly out half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's yeah.
Now, would you, as an out half, would you be more of a passer or runner or a kicking style out half? Which would you be? Which would you think of
I
yourself
don't know.
as?
I'm pretty good at attacking the line. Wait till Tommy sees this, but no, probably more of a kicking out half. To be honest, and distribution.
Oh, they're just two key core skills that an out half always needs anyway. If you have them nailed down, you'll be fine. Um, what do you enjoy most about playing rugby? Because all the different levels of rugby you've played, what have you enjoyed most about playing it both on and off the field?
Yeah, I was thinking about this question, and not to sound like a broken record, but the previous sessions, but yeah, no, like I suppose on the field, I really enjoy tackling. No,
This is
just I
unheard of
suppose.
an out half that enjoys tackling. What?
No, I'm joking. Off the field, again, it would just be like kind of meeting the different people and having to crack with guys through different teams. Playing with and against as well, and kind of coming down training, and just having the crack after games, and particularly after training, whatever, in the dressing rooms, and coming back from games. And again, you wouldn't see people for a number of weeks or months, and then you see them and just kind of spark up the same relationship. And then of course enjoy on the field maybe Lukey's pre-season running. That's always high on the list.
Have to give Luke O'D now a shout out there. He gets everyone well prepped and ready each season. Just as well, then, what would be your favorite rugby memory or moment? Like, surely there was a lot of moments when you were in France or when you were playing for Cork, or even when you were playing for Wanderers that would live long in the memory.
Yeah. No, it's again. I was trying to think about this one. I was probably very very lucky to be involved in some great clubs and squads. So I've had, I suppose, a lot of success, which is great. But I remember growing up and going to games with my dad and friends from Middleton, and going to games in Thomond Park, and they're always very fond memories, going to the Miracle games, Munster versus Gloucester, coming up to Lansdowne Road as it was called, and seeing O'Gara hand off Malcolm O'Kelly back in 2006 in the semi-final of the Hyman Cup. Distant memory now, but yeah, very fond memories of kind of growing up and going to games, playing it. I suppose, most recently, there's a great squad and spine in Wanderers of players and core group of players, and has been since my time here, and a lot of them are still involved through the different kind of teams within the club. So like my first year here, we were kind of in junior. It was kind of my first taste of junior rugby, but it was a great buzz around the teams. It was kind of something I hadn't experienced. Both teams, firsts and seconds, would travel on the same bus on Saturdays and play in the likes of Dundalk or Clondalkin, or kind of not the most kind of traditionally rugby strongholds. And I remember the seconds, it was such a competitive kind of setup and squad as well, and the seconds were winning all the time, and we were winning as well. And I remember just there was a great buzz around the club, and that was a great time as well. And then kind of looking back at the career, UCC was great as well. We won the under-20 kind of All-Ireland League. Again, it was a great squad, and some great nights out with the teams there. And I remember in schools as well, it was kind of a B school, and we kind of always kind of punched above our weight, but we won what was called the kind of Munger Cup for the first time in kind of 18 years for the school, and we got into like the Munster Senior Cup then, the quarter final, and we would have played like Christians in the quarter final. So they're kind of ones that stand out really. But yeah, no, it was being lucky enough to have some great times.
Yeah, well, with the length of that career, there was definitely a fair few memories I was expecting anyway. And and just like as an out half, like it's a very specialized position. So would there be anything you would kind of suggest for a young out half at under 13s or 14s, or even younger again, to really start practicing on or training before they start moving up to senior level? Like anything you wish you should have done, you could have done before you went into senior level?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I suppose the basic skills of obviously your catch, passing, your kicking, of course, as a kind of specialist position, obviously in 10, but watch as much rugby as possible. And I know when I was kind of growing up, you made a call and you kind of stuck to it, but now you look at the defense and read the defense and then make a call off the back of it, really. So and just being able to kind of to live in that moment and react to the changes that you see in front of you. So that's something that I suppose I would have liked to work on more, or kind of been coached on more growing up. But something like that I would kind of get kind of young boys and girls to focus on now. But and again, the basics. It's not an overly complex sport. Just do the basics well. Your catch, passing, kicking, tackling. But at our half, you can avoid some of that sometimes.
Like going hiding in the backfield and letting someone else take
get
the job.
Fawny to tackle a few lads.
I'm the exact same. I'm a scrum half, so I'm always in the back half of that line there. So I'm like, I'm not going to do the first one. I'll do the ankle tap. But yeah, listen, Peter, thanks very much for the insight into your careers, as I would say, in rugby, and just into your position as well, because it is a very specialised position, and we have a lot of good young out halves coming up through the youth section anyway, and I've seen them down there on Sunday morning. So hopefully they learn something from this. But thanks very much for your time.
Brilliant, Jaron. Thanks very much for your time. And
cheers. See you now.
Thanks.
So now we have our representative of the women's team, Katie Hill. Nice to meet you. I haven't really gotten to meet many of the ladies' team in person, but I'm getting to know you through these video chats. So just to start off, where did you first start playing rugby, and at what age?
I guess I was probably a little bit towards the later end of starting rugby. When I was in school, rugby wasn't huge for girls. There was only one school I knew that had rugby for girls, but I remember asking for it and they were like, oh no, that doesn't happen. And over the next couple of years, I went to college and I played different sports, and it just kind of went out of my mind. I wasn't really aware of it. And then I took up a job in Waterford, and I didn't really know anyone. And there was a girl I worked with, and she played for the New Ross women's team. And she knew that I kind of was sporty and I wanted to kind of get to know people. So she's like, do you want to come down to rugby? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was not going to lie, I was really anxious and nervous about the running on a pitch into people. But I went down and I loved it from day one. Like, it was just brilliant. It was such good, like, team atmosphere, and everyone was really good, like friendly, and it was just a really good way to meet new people. So I left my job in Waterford then and moved back to Dublin, and I kind of took a bit of a break from it because I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back to my like old sports, and I was kind of busy doing other things. But my housemate at the time kind of mentioned it to me. She's like, oh, have you ever thought of going back to rugby? And I was like, oh yeah, maybe. So we were living on Bagot Street, so we just took the quick walk down to Wanderers one evening and met the girls. So I started in Wanderers in 2017. So this would be my 4th year there. So that is the story of how I started.
Well, there we go. Listen, like, no matter what age you take up rugby, it's really good to have people coming in. But you said there you were playing other sports. What other sports would you have played?
Oh, well, I did in secondary school, I did the kind of basketball and hockey and a few other sports like that. And then I've always been a bit of a swimmer. So I wanted to do a bit of swimming in college, but not to a competitive level, and there was a water polo team, and an American friend said, "Do you want to come down and give it a go?" And I was like, "I've never heard of this sport," so I went down and I played it for my 4 years in college, and it was brilliant. It was really good, but it's a really niche sport, so you don't get it in every town or city in Ireland. So that's the benefit of rugby. It usually exists in every town
every
or county.
town, yeah. I know.
But yeah, no,
grueling sport. I have a few mates.
grueling, but it's yeah.
Don't know how they do it.
It's handy for like learning to catch a ball fairly well. So it was kind of a bit of like help for rugby, I guess.
Well, hopefully we'll be seeing in a few matches now those you just jumping up in the air, catching with one hand, just legging it down on the pitch. We'll have a look, see. Just going into my next would be, where have you played, like club wise? You already said that you played for New Ross. Would you have played for any other clubs when you came back to Dublin, or at any representative level?
No, I went straight to Wanderers. I think they were in Division 3 at the time. So that was where I've been since. I haven't played rugby anywhere else apart from Wanderers. To be honest, it's too hard to leave.
And what position do you play?
I played hooker for my first couple of seasons, because we didn't have anyone. That was the girl who was playing actually had moved on. Okay. So I took it over and I really enjoyed it. But then I went back to what was my original position in New Ross, which was second row. Okay. And I'm fairly happy there. Like it's what I like. You feel like you're really making a bit of a impact in the game, and it's hard, but it's rewarding.
the unsung heroes are the second rows, because you pretty much do most of the tackling on the pitch anyway.
Oh, we try to.
Trust me, from the amount of stats I have to look through all the time, second rows definitely do the most work. Back rows like they think they do, but it's actually the second rows. So this, what would you enjoy most about playing in rugby, both on and off the field? Like,
I particularly enjoy, I guess, like it's particularly in the forwards. It's such a mentality of like it's like a unit. You're kind of all sticking together. And if you're having like a series of plays and just keeps going and going, and it's relentless, and it's just going into ruck after ruck after ruck, and eventually someone just gets it down over the line, and it's just such a good feeling. Everyone's just kind of like, oh, the relief. I'd say that's pretty much up there.
Listen, I as a scrum half, I can tell in the faces of forwards that they really enjoy the part where we finally get over the line. Grand break time, he's taking the kick.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anything off the field, like events or anything like that, you would enjoy after a match or anything like that?
Yeah, the Wanderers is brilliant. Like there's been so many good socials in the clubhouse, and like barbecues and dinners and Christmas drinks and parties, and they've been really good. It's always really well organized. I've made some really good friends in the club. So now that we know each other well enough, we're able to like meet up outside of rugby as well, which is great. Particularly if you weren't from Dublin or something. There's a lot of girls who kind of have a lot like made really close friends from rugby that they would kind of depend on as like their friends in Dublin now. Which is great. Like it's such a good atmosphere.
Right. And then what would be your favorite moment or memory from playing, like would it after a match or even while on the pitch? Any championships or anything like that?
I haven't been fortunate enough to get towards any kind of successful finals or anything yet, but one that sticks in my mind was definitely the Aviva game in the 150th year. Like that was amazing. I kind of feel at the time it didn't really feel real, but that was brilliant. But then apart from that, I'd say the first time I scored a try for the club, that was pretty special. And it was against the team that ultimately won the league. So I took that as a little victory.
A little bit, you may have won, but I got one up on you.
Yeah.
No, but that 150th year celebration it's actually something no other clubs apart from Trinity and Wanderers can actually celebrate. And you're one of the rare few that have ever got to play in Aviva or Lansdowne Road, as us diehards call it. But great to have the women's teams playing there as well. Like it's a really big boost for the women's game. is there any suggestions or training advice you would have for someone in your position back when they were maybe 13, 14, like when they were just coming into position specific kind of roles?
I guess, and ball handling skills, like learning to pass, catch and pass, like constantly, just kind of with your eyes closed. I would say that's definitely been a huge advantage, because you're already at kind of, you don't need to learn that then as you progress, because you remember it. You remember how to catch. It's like muscle memory or whatever. But I'd definitely say another thing I wish I had done when I was younger was Pilates, like the guys have been doing and we've been doing online with the club. It gives you just such an awareness of like how you're supposed to position your body and how you can make it stronger and more kind of solid, say in the scrum or in tackles or whatever. And it also helps with injury as well. Like it's a natural process of rugby is injury, but definitely if you are strong from Pilates, I think you probably will have a less time out with injuries.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A good few of the lads have said that now. But Brian Quill, the first team captain, is a very big advocate of taking up Pilates. Anyway, I could tell from when I interviewed him. But yeah, I would totally agree. Like giving yourself the edge when you get older, where you're not able to move as freely as you did when you were a teenager, is definitely up there. But Katie, listen, thank you very much for joining me today. It's great to have the women's team involved in this because we need to get as many young women playing rugby as possible, as soon as possible.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I know from having cousins who play, and I know from friends of mine who play, these are actually way more aggressive than the lads. And it's quite
we've
it can be
centuries to
scary.
catch up on.
Exactly, and it's a little bit scary for us little scrum half fellas. Like we're like, oh my god, I'm going to die, but everyone's going to kill me. But yeah, listen, thank you very much for joining me. And is there anything else you would like to like let us know about yourself or about your rugby background or anything that we haven't really covered in the questions I've asked?
Just basically that, like it's the best crack I've ever had playing a sport, to be honest. It's brilliant. I've just made some really good friends, and for any young person that is interested in playing, definitely seek it out. Look for what's in your clubs. Ask clubs if they have any plans to make junior teams. Ask your schools. Ask people you know who play rugby, and if you keep searching, you will find a club to play with or a school or something, and it's well worth it.
Very true. Great, Katie, thank you very much, and thanks for joining me. So we have first team player here today, Lucas Culleton. Nice to meet you, well, in person, or should I say in person. So I'm just going to make you the center of attention now. So all eyes are going to be on you. There we go. Perfect. So, Lucas, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be interrogating you. So first question for myself would be, where did you first start playing and at what age?
I first started playing, I'd say, well, I tried to start playing when I was 6. I was a bit of a shy child. So I live outside Port Arlington in County Laois. That's where I'm originally from. And so I started playing with Port Arlington at about, when I was about 6, tried under 8s, and as I said, I was fairly shy and timid, so I wasn't able for it the first year around. It's 2 years young for under 8, so I agreed with my father I'd give it another year. So I came back anyways when I was about 7 or 8, and played minis then in Port Arlington all the way up to as far as under 13s, I'd say it was. And then I went to Rossgrey boarding school. So I spent my next 6 years in Rossgrey playing rugby all the way up. And when I started at minis playing rugby, I was always a forward anyway. Sure, you know yourself, like, you know, it's just the front row in there. So I was in playing there, and then as I got a bit older, I migrated out to out half somehow, and I played out half for a few years anyways, going into Rossgrey, and I was adamant I was sticking there. Even though, you know, my father was 6'6", and out second row, and
every forward has an out half inside of them.
Yeah, I know exactly. Whether it's able to come out or not, the other question. But yeah, all my uncles, grandfather, all played. All were forwards, so there wasn't much hope for me on the back line anyway. So
yeah, you have to follow the L family tree.
Yeah, exactly. So I went back into the second row come the end of first year, which took a lot of convincing. Because at the time, I was one of the tallest in the year or whatever. So I was put into the second row.
Just so the lads know, how tall are you?
I'm about 6'5", but at a professional level, that's not a very tall second row.
You're talking to a 5'9" scrum half here.
yeah. But
I dream of being 6 foot.
Well, but even seeing some of the second rows these days, they're minimum 6'7", 6'8". It's ridiculous.
Turning into basketball players, they all are now.
Yeah, I know, it's mad. But so then went. Yes, in first year actually I didn't even play on the first team because I was adamant playing out half and I was not the best out half. But eventually I was convinced to play second row, and then I ended up playing the last few games in first year with the first team. Then the following year, naturally took to it like a duck to water. Like it was, I was made for second row, not out half. So got into second year then, and I ended up making the squad for. I didn't start, but I made the squad at least for the junior cup team, which was having come from not even playing on the first year team, the year before, which was great. So, and then played junior cup, in third year. Was in and out of the senior team in TY. Wasn't on it all the time. I might have got in on the squad to sub for a few games here and there. But not too much. Mainly played with seconds in TY. But then in fifth year I played with the first, and then in sixth year I was captain of the first team. So had a few great years in Oscar. Yeah. And then coming out of that, in fifth year I was trying to get into the Leinster setup, and as well as in any kind of a setup. But I had gone to Leinster trials. A few. I never broke in anyways. But in fifth year, I was asked to come to play with the Connacht under 19. So got to play the interpros with them, which was great exposure. Like it was big jump up, physicality wise. Having never played, some lads go from starting at the youngest interprovincial age and then working upwards. I went in under 19, and it was new to me altogether. But it was great kind of push towards that bit of experience and pushing me that bit more. And then the following that was post fifth year, and then the following year after sixth year I was asked to go into the sub academy in Connacht. So jumped on that. Did the whole pre-season during the summer, great crack. Over in Galway. Then worked through the winter as well, and got a good bit of exposure playing the A games. I was at that stage I'd moved from the under 19 level. I'd been moved from second row to back row, and I was keen on my athletics, so coaches kind of saw that, so they said he's better off in the back row. And then played away for the year. All growing up, I was obviously dying to go towards that kind of professional rugby level and everything. Got some great exposure playing with the Eagles and everything. Played the full Celtic Cup, and got a few starts, which was great. Like playing seven, which was a bit weird for me as well. So I'm 6'5", 7.
Not like seven, no. Not like
I do like seven. I do, yeah. But I just thought, 6'5", 7, 6'5" open side.
Yeah, listen, you have a lot of lads in, like Dan Levy's not that short himself, so
yeah.
6'4", isn't he?
Yeah, I'd say so. Big man, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you were very heavily in athletics as well. Like what sports would you have done in athletics?
I was again early on wasn't great at it, similar with the rugby, but I was adamant I was a sprinter and loved it.
Inner Usain Bolt hidden deep down inside, was there?
Oh, absolutely! Like 6'5", 6'6", just get over the line with the stride. But no, I eventually pulled through the like to go. But we had a strong relay team in sixth year, and we came second in the All Ireland. I was running last on that, so that was great crack as well.
Good.
Earlier years I was kind of in and out of the relay team a bit, but finally in sixth year got in there. I also threw the hammer in fifth year.
Oh, that sounds like a bit of fun. I watch that a lot myself when I'm watching the Olympics. I'm like, I'd end up going with the things. I'd forget to let go of it.
It's a serious discipline, like Gary Halpin was actually my coach.
Oh, really?
So he was, because he was in Roscrea for the last few years I was there.
He was looking after boarding and all, was he?
Down there?
Some man he was. Played the Wanderers himself.
Yeah, just absolute gent, like I couldn't believe it when I heard the news. It was just shocking.
Just can I just ask you now, like, what would be the very thing you love most about playing rugby, both on and off the field?
I love I love the combination of the skill and the physicality. Like I wouldn't have been a great soccer player because it would have been awkward playing in the schoolyard and as a school kid, knocking other lads over. I love the combination of that, but yeah, both the physicality and the skill set. It's great to be able to, be able to combine those and do something great with it. And off the field, look, when you're playing rugby, like you're in a war basically. So like the lads you're playing with, they're your best mates, like they're almost family, like So you're gonna have the great times with them off the pitch as well.
It's a great sign. Like nearly every answer, especially for off the field, has been the team dynamic, the group getting to, and then you pretty much become friends, and which is great to see because that's really a driving force, especially at Wanderers. One of the main driving forces behind the sport of rugby is to create that feel of community and belonging, especially at
absolutely,
club level all the way up, which is great. And my next one would be what would be your favorite memory from playing or even off the pitch, like a competition you might have been at or some sort of event yourself at the club? Like, what would have been your favorite memory?
I have a lot of great memories, like coming up through Roscrea and and the short time I was in Wanderers so far. I got one match in, but and I broke my leg. But no, even that was a great day. Like that was, it's mad, as we were saying just there a minute ago, like the camaraderie and everything with rugby. Like I'm playing with Wanderers since I moved up to Dublin in September, and like all the lads are just like they welcome me in straight away. Like they're just absolute gents. So even just that day was going out down in the club, like weather was gorgeous, playing for the first time. Ended up getting a try, lucky one. Like that was a great day. Like just to have one of those days back now would just be great. But yeah, as well, like in school in my sixth year, even all the way up, like I had the privilege of playing with a few really great players in school as well. And in sixth year as well, we were a very close group. Like, so we just, we on the rugby pitch, we just loved talking out together, every time, whether it was training or a match. We were lucky that our we didn't quite we got knocked out in the first round of the cup against Belvedere, and we ended up going into the play competition, which actually ended up being great because we ended up playing a lot longer than we would have if we were still in the cup. And that the extension of that, being able to train every day going into the nice weather and everything was lovely too. Yeah, stuff like that, you know. There's a few we ended up winning the plate in the end, which was a great memory too. And I guess if I'm going back into earlier days, I remember coming to Wanderers when I was a kid. You know, my dad and my uncles and granddad all played in Wanderers, so I remember coming. A few nice days there as well, which was good fun, like, you know. And there's so many, you know, it's hard to pick, you know. Yeah, exactly. But
So, and just to finish up now, like, if you had to go back and tell yourself as a kid, like when you're just coming into youth level, is there anything specific you would have realized you should have trained as a kid to now? Like any line out, any jumping tips for line out work, or any strengthening tips? Like Brian Quill I had on last week said, take up Pilates or yoga to develop your flexibility. So was there any tips you could kind of float to the younger second rows and back rows that are coming up through Wanderers now?
Yeah, definitely the likes of yoga, Pilates are brilliant, and I'd add athletics to that list, you know. Especially to young people, if get involved in athletics, because like it doesn't matter what you do, it's a discipline, and you need to be disciplined to do it, and that'll follow through to rugby. And then as well, there's the whole physical side of it, whether it doesn't matter what you're doing, you have to build, whether it's running, you know, throwing a hammer or whatever, you have to build a certain amount of explosiveness. You need to be an endurance athlete if you're doing long distance, or, you know, and then there's the speed in the likes of sprinting, and every bit of it will help.
Over.
And yeah, absolutely. And just, you know, vary your sports as well. I remember in Roscrea especially, the lads who played hurling and football were always great at playing rugby. You know, you know, don't just limit yourself to the one thing, especially when you're young. Like now, obviously, I just play rugby because it's my favorite sport by far. Like, but when I was younger, I tried to play as much as I could. But definitely with the athletics, you look at Gary Halpin, and he was a serious athlete who went to Manhattan University on a hammer scholarship, and just his explosiveness and strength was just outrageous. And, you know, he was miles ahead of people of his own age, and that's why he was so successful.
Lucas, listen, thanks very much for joining me this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all the great insight, especially into I know you're still a young lad yourself at the moment, and just the level of experience you're bringing to the club for the senior players, and even for the younger lads now coming up. They say I can get into the senior team even at a younger age, then coming in at 25, 20, nearly up to 29. You don't have to be very old. You just have to work hard and nail down your skill set and train as well as you can. And great hearing all the stuff, especially the take up as many sports as you can. That's something I'm a big believer in, because you don't realize how easily things can transition over into different sports straight away. But thanks very much for coming on this evening.
Thank you very much, sir.